Yeah, what up, YouTube? It's your boys out back at you. You already know, but anyways, a lot of people been asking me why I don't put out, content like left and right, because a lot of these other channels they continuously drop content regardless, and that's something that is smart of them because the way YouTube moves as far as its algorithms, it really comes down to the fact of you constantly uploading, and then it also comes down to how many likes and how many comments, and if they watch the video to the end. It's just the interaction. That's what gives YouTube an idea of whether your video is really worthy of putting out there, or not endorsing so much, but just basically if a lot of people like your video and they've been watching it, regardless of if they watch the ads or not. It's just a simple fact they click, they comment, and it's a lot of interaction. People well, not people, but YouTube sees that as something positive, not necessarily positive. Let me just, sorry, a little tongue tie, but YouTube sees it as, as content that people want to watch. Like when my channel first started, they were throwing in everything. It don't matter what search you did, my video will pop out, and that's just something that happens when people interact, or a lot of click, people type in your name, and people still do that. They type in my name instead of just clicking on the video that they're subscribed to. They type in my name because that actually does something a lot different. Now, besides that, what I really want to talk about today is what a lot of people have been asking me, and generally this question has came up so many times, and this question is basically, if I had a chance to change everything, would I do things exactly the same, or would I switch up and go another route? And to be 100% honest, I'm going to tell you what I think, and then I'm going to tell you a conversation I had with a few youngsters about this one particular, not question, but when they asked me a certain thing. But to be honest, if I had to go through everything all over again, as sad as it may sound, I wouldn't change absolutely nothing, because it was a lesson to be learned in the route that I went. Now, would I wish this upon anybody else? No. If I could talk to youngsters and tell them to avoid it, I would. Now, like I said, I'm not here to really deter people from going a certain route, and I'm not pushing them to go a certain route, regardless of exactly what people may want to hear, or what people may feel that they have some type of influence over. It never goes the way you want it, because if a person is gonna go a certain way, regardless of what happens or what they go through, 9 out of 10, unless they weren't really with that particular activity, as far as like getting in gangs, though a lot of those cats, they some of them get smart and they get out before it consumes them, and some end up in prison for the rest of their life, and some end up going out backwards because they weren't strong enough to admit the fact that it was something that they really didn't want to get into. Now, me personally, I already knew the way I wanted to go. There was a lot of gangbangers in my family. There was a lot of gangs around me, and it's something that I particularly took a liking to. Like, no matter what neighborhood I moved to in the valley, or if we were in LA or whatever, I always gravitated to that. Even though my mom was like one of those, like, if I catch you there, I'm gonna beat the skin off your butt. But it was something that I was intrigued by. And like I said, if you watch my first video when I talked about why I got into a Hispanic gang, and I told you that I in fact almost got into a blood gang, but the gravitational pull of what homies had on me was just something too strong to be denied. Sorry about that, my allergies. Yeah, it's just the way I grew up, you know what I mean? So when people do ask me that question, if I would change anything, to be honest, and I know it's something that might not be to the liking of a lot of different people, because they figure I'm on a different level. But now, yeah, I am on a different level. I mean, it's not as high as a lot of people, but it's just like I'm on a different level. I'm on a different path. I see things a lot different. But would I change my path? I mean, would I change what happened in the past? No. You know what I mean? Regardless of what took place, it's just something that I needed to go through. A lot of it is just, you fight this inner war within yourself, so you're constantly trying to figure out what you're gonna do next, where you're going to next. And it was just one of those things that, with my anger, never really allowed me to see clearly. It was always, the first thing I want to do is, like, if we had 2 words and it wasn't nothing positive, we were fighting. And that's just how I've always been. A lot of people that know me as a youth know that the first thing I wanted to do was fight, and I'm still that way in a lot of ways. That's why it's constantly what I say, controlling that demon within me. Because when people see nowadays, it's like the internet is so riddled with trolls and people just wanting to see people get murked. Stop yourself from allowing them to push you into a position that's going to either get you killed or get somebody else killed. Because as far as my record, people know, like, when it comes to that, that was nothing. And that's not bragging about nothing, but when people go on the internet and they talk tough about what they'll do with this, they're just flashing guns. People like me and people that I used to deal with was known for busting them, and that's just something that, it's a lot different. A lot of people see things different now, and that's why I'm glad that now that I'm, as far as like on a different level, as far as where I'm trying to get to, yeah. I'm on a different level. I'm seeing things a lot different, and I'm constantly trying to, teach myself to avoid issues. Because right now there is a lot of issues on the street. If you're not mad at this, you're mad at that. If you're not mad at that, you're mad at something else that might have took place that maybe you really have nothing to do with. It's just a simple fact, as a human being, you feel some type of way about it. Like I said with the vendors, you have people get mad at that, and it's old. Yeah, it's old. That I chose to speak about it when I thought I should speak about it, not just try to catch the wave and just like everybody else spoke about it, so let me just no. But that's besides the point. Like I said, for the people that ask me that question, would I change? Would I, no, I wouldn't. I would keep it exactly the same, because it's a lot of the things that I went through are the things that made me the person I am today. And regardless of whether I have millions of subscribers, I'm still slowly growing. But there's a chance that I might get to a level that a lot of people may never get to in their life. So I'm happy with that. And like I said, it's God's plan on exactly where this YouTube and wherever else I go to takes me to. So yeah, I would change absolutely nothing. Now, I did have a conversation with some youngsters, like I said in the beginning of the video, and I'm gonna tell you exactly what they asked me. And it was basically whether they should get in gangs. Hey, if they should join the neighborhood. One in particular wanted to join my hood, and the first thing I told him was no. Like, and that's just to be honest. Back in the days, the old me would have been like, hell yeah, I'll get jumped in. Because at that time I saw a different sort of benefits. Whether it was the chicks, whether it was the guns, whether it was the drinking, whether it was the drugs, whether it was slanging dope, big cars, nice this, nice that, and just being reckless and not really have to, answer for a lot of the things you did. Yeah, you could go to jail, but if you were slick enough, you got away with a lot of things. Just to be honest, a lot of us have got away with things that we shouldn't have, but, by the grace of God, we got away with it, and we're not buried, under the prison. But that's besides the point. So these youngsters, we had that conversation. They asked me, hey, do you think I should gangbang? And I told them no. Like I said in the past, that never would have happened. But the way I think now, and let me just say this off the back. I'm not here to advocate for gangs, and I'm not here to advocate against gangs. I'm just saying, any man that chooses to go a certain route is going to go a certain route. If you choose to want to gangbang, you're going to gangbang. If you don't, you're not going to gangbang. Now, you have those individuals that's right in the middle. And some of them, for a fact, they're going to eventually go towards gangs because you can see that in them. You've seen them display certain characteristics and things of that nature that would give you that indication. And plus, you start to, judge people's character. So okay, this person right here, that's just his life, regardless of what you're saying and what type of influence you feel you might have. And there's some people that's going to be like, oh, well, that's not, you're half-stepping, but it's not. It's just, if you told me back in the days and you had influence, you still wouldn't change the fact that I wanted to do what I wanted to do. And it's prime example, and that's why I ended up in prison and doing things the hard way. Now, the reason I told these particular youngsters that wasn't worth it, because even though I could see that they had that in them, they didn't have it in them. And in the end, it would have only got exposed in a way that might have been detrimental to their life. As far as like, because when you see these particular cats, they've been taught right. They've been taught to stand their ground and never let anybody, basically like a lot of us are taught, you know, don't come home unless you get yours. You know, you walk in this house and you took an ass whoop and you didn't fight. Yeah, there's consequences. Get your stuff, we going right back out there and you're gonna get it the hard way. So they were taught like that. Now as far as like having that real gang mentality and wanting to really integrate themselves within the hood and really just like be out there doing what they need to do, not just be a gang member, they didn't. And I recognized that quick. So I told them, no, it's not worth it. And I'll tell any youngster out there that's thinking about going this route that it's just not worth it. It's better to be on the street, you know, have your girl, have you a nice car, you know, get you a nice job. Because I'm telling you, and you may not think of it right now, but in the future when you're trying to get a job and you're trying to take care of a family, if you decide to go that route, it's going to be extremely hard because you have a record. If you want guns, cool, it's an American thing. Have a gang of guns, but have them legal. You know what I mean? If you gotta have them illegally, that's just you. You know what I mean? Obviously, you messed up and did something, you can't have them legally. But if you can have them legally, go that route. And the only way to have them legally is to keep from getting a record. Don't get a record, man. Do yourself a favor, man. Do whatever you gotta do to skirt the bullshit. You know what I mean? And stay clean, because in the end, it's like if I had to take care of my family right now, as far as like protecting them, I would have to do it the old-fashioned way. I can't pick up no guns and bust, because that shit would put me in jail for the rest of my life, and you know, that really wouldn't help nobody. But that's all I'm gonna say on that. As far as like the gang shit, I told them that it's not a good look. It's better to be out in the streets getting your money the right way, and really be respecting the community. Guys like me are respected to a certain extent, but it's always that you know, that broken halo that hangs over the hood, over the head, because the things that I've did. And for people that know me, know a lot of shit that I've did that I got busted, some haven't, but you know what I mean, I've never been real positive. But like I said, the outlook is a lot different now. So basically, hopefully everybody will take this, you know, the way they take it, and just realize that we don't all think alike. And if you're hearing this and you're thinking about going that route but you really don't want to, avoid it, because it's going to cause nothing but heartache, and a lot of people are going to die before you hit back on the street. So with that being said, I'm your boy Zod. Enjoy the rest of your night, and I'm out.